Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all doing well. Now today I've got a very special, exciting guest. I'm joined by Talia, who is a really big Arsenal fan. Guys might recognise her for being on the AFTV for chatting about Arsenal in her interviews. But thank you so much, Talia, for coming on. How are you doing? How are you feeling after last night?
I'm feeling ecstatic. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. But yeah, I'm feeling absolutely ecstatic. We were just saying before we came on that we're both feeling it today. We're quite tired, as is probably pretty much every Arsenal fan in maybe this geographical region who was up pretty late. But man, I'm very happy, and it's one of those games where I actually love penalties. I love watching penalties,
Yeah.
especially when it's not your team. But I do love watching penalties. So to get all the way to penalty shootout was epic. What about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, it's the next day, and I think it's just a lovely feeling knowing that we've gotten through to quarterfinals. And it was such a difficult game. Like I know a lot of us knew it would be difficult, but I know there might have been a few fans that thought it would be easy. But I just knew that it wouldn't be easy because I know, last time they worked us out really well, and it was so difficult. I mean, we obviously scored, which made it, a good start for us. But in the end, Porto did. We beat Porto 4-2 on penalties, and we really had to dig deep, to get that win because it was so tough. Did it surprise you? We've seen it in the first leg; it was so difficult to beat them. But did it surprise you? How tough they were yesterday.
Yeah, in some ways it did, in some ways it didn't. I think the difference is obviously it's the Champions League. So the Champions League is obviously going to be very different to something like the Premier League. But it they definitely showed up Porto in so many different ways. And of course, I was expecting it to be a difficult game. I didn't think it was going to get to penalties personally. I did think we were going to get it in, if not, full time, we were going to get it in extra time at least. But they definitely showed up, and it took me by surprise, yes. But at the same time, I was confident that we were going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I was very confident. And you know what? As an Arsenal fan, it is nice to kind of go into the international break, into the next round of the Champions League, and also sitting at the top of the table. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a tough game, and I did want to speak about David Raya because for him it has taken him a while to get that support, from fans in the way Ramsdale had from us because like I always say, we did build this great connection with Ramsdale, and it was kind of sad to see the way it ended. But obviously for Raya, it's a fresh start for him, and in that game yesterday, he obviously saved the 2 penalties, and I thought he was really incredible in that game. Like, we've obviously seen so many moments where Ramsdale's had that connection with the fans. Do you feel like that was Raya's moment to connect with the fans yesterday?
Yeah, it probably was. And obviously, it's interesting because not many people have been talking about, at the beginning of the season, there
Yeah.
was the whole Ramsdale Raya debate. And you don't really hear anyone talking about it anymore, which kind of maybe shows us the answer that everyone was debating a couple of months ago. I think, but it's like with anybody, and someone was talking about it on the show last night. It's like with anybody, when you start somewhere new, I know obviously everyone expects when you're a footballer to come into a team and to just perform and to excel and to, save all the goals or to score all the goals, whatever position you're coming into. But we're still human beings, and I think it's so important to know that you're still coming into a team. Yes, obviously there's pressure to do well. We want you to do well, but you're still a human being, and sometimes some players need a little bit more time to warm into things, a little bit more time to gel with everybody, and then also just a little bit more time for the fans. It's not just David Raya. Someone like Kai Havertz is someone, that
Yeah.
is similar in that respect. But I do think that was probably the moment where if anybody was already on the sidelines and not sure about David Raya,
Yeah.
he did a good job. But it wasn't just the penalties. He's been saving some pretty impressive shots during games as well, especially last night.
Yeah, I think for me he's really growing and like improving in every game. I think he has had his moments where he struggled, but now I feel like he's really learned from his mistakes and he has proven to be a really good goalkeeper. It has taken fans time because I didn't really expect him when he came in to fully take Ramsdale's place. I did think he would maybe compete a bit more, but yeah, I just think for me, it has surprised me but I think when Arteta's made his mind up, that's what he wants, and I really really seen how Raya has improved this Arsenal team, and I think it was really important for him to have that moment with the team, with the fans, because we know Arteta did take a big risk in bringing him in, and I think it is starting to pay off now. And I just wanted to answer this question from the Doug at Football Channel. Hey, Soph and Talia, who do you want in the last 8 or want to avoid? That's a good question, because I think it's starting to get a lot tougher. I know I wouldn't want Man City.
I was going to say City.
Yeah, I just don't think I could deal with it. Imagine if it went to penalties and oh yeah. I wouldn't mind maybe a Barcelona or Inter Milan, but I think I'd rather get an easier team at the moment. But who would you want to have?
Who would I want to have? Oh man, that's
It's tough.
I just, to be honest with you, probably anyone except Man City.
Yeah.
Just also because it keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
We play City in so many other leagues and on other tables. I mean, competitions that it keeps it a little bit more interesting. It'd be nicer to play at least one of the European teams. To be honest with you, I'm not picky on choice. I just think I just wouldn't want to play City. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think they're the team that I look at and think, I wouldn't want to play them. I mean, I do believe we could have a good chance in beating them, but I just think at the moment, it's good to play other teams. It makes it more interesting, like you said. And like we said, we've already got City, so it'd be a bit not boring, but I think as other fans that are watching it, they'd probably want us to play Man City. But I know for us as Arsenal fans, we just want something a bit different. So
Yeah.
I kind of hope we do get an easier fixture for that, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And what I noticed a lot about yesterday was, I think last season, if we had played this game, I think we might have struggled a lot more. I feel like we've really grown in that experience, because obviously Declan Rice has come in, Havertz has come in, and we saw with Havertz as well yesterday that he just has this determination, passion, and he's got a fiery side that I kind of like when he was pushing their manager, and it's just things like that you really like about him. And Declan Rice the same. They've just got these great characters and personalities, and I just feel like we're very much better this season, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think I actually said something similar last night, which was obviously not, something like the league, for instance. We were in a very similar place this time last year, but you can see that we're the same team, obviously, apart
Yeah.
from a couple of the new guys, we are at the same team, but we're the same team, but we're a different team. There's a lot more confidence in the team. They're stronger. They seem hungrier, and they're gelling a lot more. And someone like, with the odds of someone like Declan Rice and even Kai Havertz coming in, they're really starting to kind of take shape now. And it's really making a difference in the team. I mean, these two guys are, two guys that really have, Kai Havertz has scored some of the winners that have got us points, and Declan Rice as well. They're two people that are making an impact into the team. So do I think we would have performed as well last night? No, we might have even lost it if it was this time last season to Porto, in my opinion. But I think that we are in a different, obviously with the same squad, despite a few different people, new people, we are in a different place. And I think mentally, you can see, physically and mentally, the players are different.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously adding that experience has really helped, but I just feel like the team obviously missed out on the league last season, and we just have this different, fire about us this season. I know we had a bit of a slow start in the season, and now we're up there at the top. I feel like it's looking really good for us at the moment, and I just think this season's definitely been better. Last season was incredible, but this season I think we've got an even better chance, and I just think the experienced players we brought in has really helped as well. And I just wanted to read out this comment because I think it's really important. Bring anyone on, this young team is going places. Last night will be an amazing experience for the players, one of the most clinical penalty shootout performances I've seen from Arsenal. Yeah, and I think when it came to the penalty shootouts, I just sort of thought we would win. Not to sound too cocky, but I just feel like the players we have, we know Saka and Odegaard and Havertz are really good penalty takers. But for you, when the players were going up, how were you feeling at that moment?
I was very confident, to be honest with you. But I think
Yeah.
as soon as we got to penalties, I had a level of confidence. I did feel that we would do it, and it was nice to see Declan Rice come in for one. That when he walked up, it kind of was like, okay, we really have got this now, which was nice. But Yeah, I don't know why. I just felt very confident once we got to penalties. Like I knew we had it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was very exhausting. I think we were mentally and emotionally just really tired from that. But it was really good in the game because I just loved how we stayed in it, even though Porto had a few chances, which Raya and defensively we saved. But I think from us scoring that goal, it gave us a lot of hope, and I did feel like it was one of those performances in the first half where it was like the last one where we were doing really well, but Porto just defensively were really tough to break down. And I know Odegaard really got us through that game. I think for me, that's probably been the most I've been impressed with him in like probably the season. I just think it was a real captain performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. He really took on the captain role last night, and he has been doing it a lot more. Kind of, he has been doing it a lot more as the games have been progressing. But he really took it on, and he really. I mean, to be honest with you, if it wasn't David Raya who was man of the match, player of the match, sorry,
Yeah.
it was close that it could have been someone like Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, I know it was really hard to pick like a player of the match because I also thought Kivior as well was really good. So there's like so many, amazing players that we could have picked because I did think it was a really good performance. I did want to talk about this because I noticed with the referees, like I'm not gonna lie, the referee did look like Trossard's dad or brother, whatever people have been saying. But I did think it was quite bad last night. Like Andrew said, I hate complaining about the refs, but did seem really inconsistent last night. From the start, when Wendell ran through Saka without a foul called, it seemed like Trossard. Yeah, it was weird the referee and it was quite frustrating. Like Porto, they went down every like 5 minutes, and I was really shocked. Like, did it surprise you when at the first half there was like 1 minute extra time? Like, I was expecting like 5 or 10 minutes.
But we I think we were expecting that mostly as well because in the Premier League we can get up to like 10 extra
Yeah,
minutes. So when we hear 1 extra minute now, it's like, wait, what? Like, what did we do wrong? Like, we're so used to so much extra time. But that, you know what, the ref, there were things I did really appreciate last night about the referee, and there was a few moments where you would see that, when the players go and start giving their talk and they start they arguing back at him, and he kind of was like, yeah, cool, and would get on with his job. Whereas some refs obviously intervene and they get more involved, but he was very much not taking that on. In a way, he kind of wasn't letting it get, he wasn't letting it affect him. He wasn't getting involved in it. He was very much like, no, I've made my decision. Let's go. It was inconsistent in some places, but not too much. But there was a period where I think the yellow card was whipping out quite a bit at one point. I think there was a stat we said last night on the show. I don't remember it now exactly, but I think there was close to 30, might have been 30 something. It was about 30 something tackles, incidences even throughout the game, which is huge.
crazy. Yeah, it was a lot. Like the refereeing decisions as well. It was pretty chaotic, and I know before that I briefly spoke about Kivior, and he has for me really settled into his role. Obviously we've seen Zinchenko play, in this place, and obviously Zinchenko went out injured and he hadn't played for a little while. But for me, Kivior, it took fans a little bit of time to kind of like him and feel comfortable with him. I think it did take him time to kind of feel comfortable in that role as well. But I noticed yesterday, obviously we won, I'm happy with that. But I noticed that when Zinchenko came on, he was a little bit rusty, and I felt like he really struggled to adapt to the game. And it does give Arteta a really tough decision, like who would he stick with? Would he stick with Kivior? Should he stick with Zinchenko? Because I know our next game against Man City is probably the game of the season for us. Like, I think if we win that, then I think we could win the league. But if you were Arteta, would you stick with Kivior or would you change it for Zinchenko?
I'd probably stick with Kivior for the time being, just because he's been the one, especially during the last run of games, that has been the one that's been in there and with the consistency. I think it's a difficult position for Arteta because obviously that position, for some reason, everyone's getting injured, or has been. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
that they have been. They're coming back now, but it has been a difficult one. And it's interesting because you have to think, if Timber, if Tomiyasu, and if Zinchenko weren't all injured, would Kivior have even been playing as much as he has been. There's that as well. Maybe not, but he has obviously been able to show Arteta that he can do this, and he is the right guy in some ways when he can come into this position for specific games. So yeah, I think I would keep him just because of consistency, especially because we haven't got another game now in between. And the only reason, they can train as much as they want, but sometimes putting fresh legs straight back onto a pitch that they haven't been in the actual pitch game environment for however long, that can sometimes be the slip up that we can see sometimes the players do.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you've been injured, like I know with Partey when he came back a few games ago, he looked a bit rusty, and I feel like sometimes if you've not played a proper match, then you're not going to be 100% yourself. You do need time to build that up. So I think, I'm happy that Arteta has been sticking with Kivior, because I think he's been doing really well, and he has proven, why he should be starting in these games, and I'm really happy to see that. And obviously we saw Tomiyasu, he's back in the squad, which is great. It's hard because the back four, you look at them and you think you can't really drop any of them, so it's going to be hard for these players to come back in, because you look at like someone like Ben White, you can't drop him obviously unless he's injured, because they're just doing so well. So I just feel like it's really giving Arteta a headache at the moment. And I saw this as well, which I thought was lovely. I love how Ramsdale and Raya had a little bit of a hug together. They celebrated, and it must be hard really for Ramsdale to be sat on the bench. He might be thinking, I wish this was me, but he's always dealt with it with such class, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He might be thinking this is me, but I think there was a lot more of thinking this was me. This should be me at the beginning of the season. But now it's probably a lot more. I think he's come to acceptance. I think he's just kind of accepted it, and I think he knows what's happening. He was obviously able to play last week, but I think that he might be thinking this is me in some ways, but I think he can also see that David Raya is doing the job, and when you're seeing someone doing the job, no matter if it's the position you're in or you want to be in, if you can see them doing it well, it's difficult to kind of sit back and be like, oh man, like I really wish that was me, when it's still your team, and it's a team. It's not a single sport, football, is it? It's a team sport. So at the end of the day, you want the team to win.
Yeah, I do think Ramsdale's probably had that moment, when he got dropped, when he didn't expect to start off with. So I think at the moment, I do think he's generally happy for Raya. And I think that's lovely to see. I think, happened with Leno. Obviously, Leno got replaced. I think, fortunately, football does change, but it's so lovely to see everyone so happy for Raya. But I did want to obviously touch on, the substitute situation, because I know online it was a bit of a big speaking point, especially when we were going for extra time, because we looked really tired. I felt like at extra time, I did feel as though Porto were a lot, they looked more energetic and they had a bit more about them. And I think that's completely normal for us to feel tired after playing that long. But obviously the substitute situation, we know Jesus came on around the 80th minute, and I thought when he came on, he really impacted this game. He had this energy that we needed. And obviously there were players that maybe looked a bit like leggy, like Saka, and I was thinking, is Arteta keeping him on so we can take the penalty, because we know Saka is good at penalties. So I felt like, I'm not sure if Arteta kept some of them on, because if it does go to penalties, we've got a few good players. But were you kind of a bit, were you ever thinking during extra time that Arteta, you should change things at all?
No, and I think we spoke about this actually on the show. I think that we got to a point during extra time when we said, would anyone bring a sub on? And I said no. Yes, you could see they were getting exhausted, the players, but you didn't know, not that there wasn't the right person to bring on, but nobody knew who to take off. You could have brought people on, but nobody really knew who to take off. And I think as extra time continued to go, there was okay, we might get penalties. So if we do take anybody off, we've taken somebody off that we know can score a penalty. And that was the only issue. I mean, look, obviously when Jesus came on, I think it was his first tap, ended up nearly being a goal. But I was surprised in some ways that he didn't make any more subs, but also not, because he doesn't make many subs much anyway. But also just because of the nature of the game and how we were playing, obviously we hadn't scored more, but we were still showing up. We weren't just being defeated, and we weren't letting Porto walk all over us. So it was just more of you didn't know who to take off.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Arteta, he does always do substitutes quite late, and I think he doesn't usually do them often. And I know Porto are, using a lot of substitutes during that time, but I did kind of think, I knew Arteta wouldn't really take off someone like an Odegaard because, or a Havertz, or, because those are the players we need for the penalties. So I kind of did get why he kept Saka on as well, because we know that these players can win us this. Which didn't surprise me. I know Nketiah did come on as well, so I'll go to answer this as well. Do you two think Nketiah is done at Arsenal now? He seemed invisible last night, didn't take a penalty. How much do you think we can get for him now? Obviously, in the league, we have, we've not really seen a lot of him, have we? And I do feel as though it is coming to an end. I'm not really sure how much we could get for him, but do you feel like, his time at Arsenal is coming to an end?
Yeah, I do. I just think that unfortunately next season, if he were to stay, he wouldn't really get much of a looking into the team. So I just do think that it is coming to an end. I think that you can see you can see who Arteta likes as his starting 11, or even if it's not starting 11, who he'll sub in.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the subs he's doing, and there's a few people that are maybe drifting onto the sidelines, which should probably be playing more, but he's not playing them as much. So this is the thing, people say that Arteta's stubborn. It's not even necessarily stubborn. You can just see he likes who he likes. It is working. So, if it's working, why change too much at the moment? But,
Yeah.
With Eddie, yeah, I just think unfortunately it might be time for him to. I mean, not for him in general. Like if he wants to play first team football and he wants to, be able to perform more, score more goals, it might not be at Arsenal anymore.
Yeah, I do think, I think we have given it a go with Eddie, and I think, last season he was really helpful with us, when we're going for the league. But I do think this season, I think Arteta's probably realised and come to the conclusion that perhaps he can't really give us what we need. But we haven't really seen a lot of him, and when he's come on off the bench, he hasn't really done an awful lot. And I suppose because he's not playing with the team a lot, it's hard for him to kind of, build those connections on the pitch. But I know in the summer it's going to be interesting because we've got the likes of, Smith Rowe as well. He's just had another injury, sort of coming back. Reece Nelson as well. So I do very much think we will have a big summer. I do feel like we still need to, make a few more signings as well. But I just wanted to go back to the Champions League because, I at the start of the season I said I would expect us to, get to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals. Like that's sort of what I was thinking. I mean, I don't think we're probably favourites to win it. I think, if you look at Man City, I think, they've got an incredible squad. If we had an injury like a Saliba or a Declan Rice, we will really struggle, even though we have improved a lot. But for you, like at this moment in time, where do you think we'll finish in the Champions League?
Can I not just say we're going to win it?
Yeah,
I think I even said it earlier on in the season. I was like, we're going to win the Champions League. I don't know. I sometimes live by hope. I do. I'm just going to say I think we're going to win it. I think we have a really strong chance of winning it. Not even depending on who our next competitor is. I just do. I just do because I think in general how we've been performing just in the league, and obviously we're out the other cups, but I just think that the players since we came back from, since they came back from Dubai, I've been saying this for weeks. Something magical happened in Dubai. Like
I don't know what happened, but it's changed.
I don't know what he did to them out there, but they came back completely different people. And I think that they have only become stronger and stronger. Yeah, some games have been harder. Some games we've absolutely, wiped the floor and we've scored loads of goals. But, some games obviously have been harder, but we have been showing up and we have been getting stronger and we're gelling more. And I think things are really starting to take shape. And I mean, if they're going to take shape at any point in the season, it's a good time to do it now. And I just do think we have a very strong chance to win the Champions League. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it also does depend, like especially this comment here, like it depends who you get in the next round because say if we get like Man City, or I think Real Madrid as well, obviously they're doing good. I think those are the teams where I'm thinking, I do believe in this team actually. I think we could beat them, but I think, if we did get them first, it will be difficult. And I know, against Porto, it was actually a struggle. We did do really well though to get through it, but there will be harder tests in there, and we do sometimes have to do a little bit better than we did. But I do feel as though it does depend on who we get. I do think we could perhaps win it. We could get. I think if we get to semi-finals, I think I'll probably believe that we can do it. And I know the league as well at the moment. We are top of the league. We've got Man City coming up, and I did want to ask you a bit about that because we know Liverpool, Man City both drop points, and that honestly felt like a win for us. But it's hard because you want to enjoy it, but you don't want to get carried away by it. For you as well, like how are you feeling about the league? Because a lot of pundits, the media, haven't really given us as much credit as Liverpool or Man City.
It's very funny because I always find that nobody wants to see Arsenal. That nobody that's not an Arsenal fan wants to see Arsenal do well. I think, especially maybe just because of the seasons we've had recently, and then that fluke season last year, because nobody expected that. So obviously we will come into this season like, right, we've got it this season. We've got it. And I think it's almost people. You're right. People aren't giving Arsenal as much credit at all. I think they're still giving Liverpool and City more credit than Arsenal, but we beat City this season already. We've beat Liverpool. Yes, okay, they've beaten us in other things, but we've still done it. And then the two of them couldn't even beat each other. So that's kind of, I know it's not a narrow-minded way of thinking about it, but that is one way of thinking about it. They didn't beat each other, but we've still beaten both those teams in different ways. Obviously, we do have the game with City coming up, but it is ours to win. I mean, if we keep it how it is ours to win. Everyone can drop points. City can still drop points. Liverpool can still drop points. We watched the two of them drop points against each other. But it is ours to win. Like, we're there. I know we're at level with Liverpool, but it is ours to win. And we just have to, it was the same thing last season. But I think, again, we were a different team last season. There's more strength in us mentally and physically, and I think we can do this.
Yeah, I definitely think we can. I think we definitely have learned from last season. Definitely. I know last season, like, none of us really expected us to go for the league, and to see that we, this season, I think we started off. I think we did okay. Then we've obviously, before Dubai, we obviously hit that difficult, path. The way I think during the end of the season, before it ends, we usually have that moment. So I'm glad it's happened, before, because we can change it, and the team have managed to fix it. And like, I think Dubai has been like a massive changing point. Like, I honestly don't know what's happened. Like, is it just them having some relaxing in the sun? Is it just them wanting to switch off from football? Because I just think, like you said, we're like a different Arsenal team. We can win ugly, we can score lots of goals, and we're just on like a really good run at the moment. So I feel quite confident about Arsenal. And someone did make a point up here about the international break coming now. Like, is it a bad time because we are doing so well? But I also do think that the team perhaps need a bit of a rest, don't they?
Yeah. Well, look what happened last time we had an international break. We came back even stronger.
Yeah.
I know in the past, everyone used to worry when Arsenal would go on an international break because there was more of a theme. They'd come back, in inverted commas, worse. But I think we've been able to show that, well, actually, I do think the players need a rest, especially the form they've been recently and the way they've been playing recently. They do need a rest. I say a rest, they're still going to be in training. They're still going to be doing their thing. But I think, they will come back, even hungrier with the knowledge of, right, there's not many games left in the season. It is ours to win, and we have got this. And I think that, I think that's what is going to happen when we come back in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this team is a lot more different to what, the team used to be like. I think the international break will do them good, obviously. Coming back, we've got that big game against Man City, which I've said, it is a defining moment of the season, but we also, we've got a lot more games after that as well to get us through the season. But it is a bit of a big game to come back to. But for you, before we do end the stream, I just wanted to ask you about that game. I'm nervous about it because I think because it's away at home, like away from home as well. At home we have this amazing record of really good. But do you believe this team can beat Man City?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think they can. I think they can. I'm not going to say they're going to demolish City, not at all. But I think it will be a game similar to last night, maybe even a game similar to the City Liverpool game. You know, it's two strong teams fighting, but I do think we have this upper edge at the moment across, you know, especially in the league. I do think we have this. There's this essence that we've got at the moment that I think that it's going to come back when we, you know, it's going to come back when we come back. And I do think we have the capability to do it. You know, it doesn't matter who's playing for City. Everyone says, oh, but it depends who's in, who's out. I still think as long as our team are fit and Martinelli's back, because you know, you could see he was missing last night just to make a point. You could tell. I think with him being back, which I'm sure he will be, I do think we've got it. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, I do believe that. I mean, I watched them against Liverpool, and I think, you know, they had a really good first half, but then the second half, you know, you saw Liverpool really go for it, and I feel like I just feel like we are more than good enough to beat them, and I think the most important thing is not to be like feared by them, because I know it's getting to the point at the end of the season where it is getting, you know, really tough, and you do have to win these type of games. I think a draw would be good, but I just feel like if we really need to win the league, we'd have to win it. But um, hoping injuries, you know, don't happen and things, you know, are good. I do feel like we can win it. Like you said, I don't think we'll thrash them like 4-0, but I feel like we could win, find a way to win. And I feel like in last season or two, you know, this season we beat them at the Emirates, and I just feel like we're really improving. You know, we never used to be able to compete with them, and obviously now we've got the team to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm feeling really optimistic about it. Hopefully we can. And before we do end the stream, do you want to just tell people like where they can find you on social media to give you a follow?
Yeah, of course. So my full name is Talia Lazarus. So that is where you can find me on Instagram and Instagram. I have a TikTok page as well, but that's a very different sort of page. It's not really football. But I do host just a side thing, well, sideline. I do host a podcast called I Got Back Up, and you can find that on you can find that on all podcast hosting platforms, so Spotify, Apple, Google. It's also on Instagram, I Got Back Up. And just a quick thing about I Got Back Up is we connect and talk with people coming back from life-changing events, traumas, recoveries. It's all after an accident I had myself 2.5 years ago, but you know, that's also what I do. So you can find me on myself, Talia Lazarus, but also the podcast I Got Back Up.
Yeah, please do give her a follow, and it has been so lovely to have you on today, Talia, and I've really enjoyed doing this. I've really enjoyed chatting with you on the comments as well, but thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's my pleasure to be here, and it's an honor that you asked me. So I really have had a really great time talking to you.
Oh, I'm so glad you've had a good time, and you're always welcome to come on. I've really enjoyed chatting with you today, and to those that are watching, I hope you have enjoyed this chat too. Please do hit the subscribe button if you are new, and please do like this video too, and share it if you want. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.